Both Liu Kang's stand 1 and down 1 are 7 frame startup, which is quite fast. Stand 2, down 2, and down 3 are all 10 frames, which is decently quick. Overall, Liu has some incredibly fast attacks, so the range is unimpressive. Case in point, back 1 is a 9 frame mid, but the range is about the same as his stand 1, so it's much more suited to confirming than getting mid-range punishes. He has another quick mid in his 9 frame towards 4. The range is much better, but the string it goes into is more unsafe, so they both have their place. His fastest comboable low is back 3 at a slowish 16 frames. It's slightly unsafe, but the string it goes into is safe and cancels. Unfortunately, Liu has no overhead at all outside of a single special from each variation, so remember your universal overhead options. Liu has a couple other interesting normals. Towards 2 is an unsafe on block ground bounce. However, you can't do 2 of them in the same combo. His only other basic attacks are back 2 and towards 3, which are both slightly slow, slightly unsafe 2-hit mids. They seem to exist to give him a bit more variety in his confirming options. One thing you'll notice immediately with Liu Kang strings is that he sometimes has to hit 2 or even 3 buttons to get his string to keep going. For example, doing 2-1-2 will give you a 3-hit string. But inputting 2-1 will only give you a standing 2, not a 2-hit string of 2-1 like you might expect. Functionally, this 3-hit string isn't really much different from a 2-hit string on another character. You have to hit buttons quicker than most characters to get his strings, but they give you a bit more time to confirm specials because the animations take longer to play out. But they also take longer to whiff. 1-2 is your basic string from your fastest attack. Unlike most strings, and most attacks in general, this string is actually +3 on block. The downside, it's a double high, so both hits can be neutral ducked. It's very good, but it's hardly spammable. 1-2-3 ends the string in a kick. It's -6, so still safe against almost everything. For the record, you need a 5-frame move or faster to punish -6 attacks. The kick is cancelable, and this isn't a bad string for both confirming and damage. But the double high start and the minus frames on the mid hurt it somewhat. Back 1-2-4 is a very similar string. It's also -6 on block, and cancelable to specials on the last hit. But the starter is a bit slower at 9 frames instead of 7. The upside is that all 3 hits are mid, so generally it's much more useful. Most characters would die for a quick mid confirm like this. 2-1-2 is a 3-hit string from his 10-frame stand 2. It's high mid-mid and only -2 on block, which makes it pretty good for confirming, while also doing some nice chip to help you with round end scenarios. 2-1-2-1 is still safe at -5, but it knocks down. I think Liu might slightly prefer the -2 of the 3-hit string on block, and prefer a special move on hit. So I don't think you should usually complete this string, though the ender really isn't bad. Back 2 down 2 is a 3-hit string that ends in a safe low. This sounds useful, but the string is very reactable and Liu doesn't have a fast overhead to cancel into, so the opponent can just low block it every time. Back 2 is 2 hits, so you can confirm into a special move on hit or complete the string with down 2 on block. Three 4 and 3-4-3 are multi-kick strings. Both are -3 on block and the damage is very high. Unfortunately, they both start from a double high and it takes a while to reach that mid-hit, so again they lose to a ducking opponent. This string seems very nice for punishing and juggling at least. Back 3-4 is his conversion from his low. It's totally safe at -2 and has decent reach and damage, and the second hit cancels. So this is one of the best low confirms I've seen in the game, but its strength is mitigated by the long startup of his back 3 and its general lack of an overhead presence. Towards 3, 3-3-3 is a very interesting string. Both the starting normal and the completed string are unsafe, and it doesn't cancel, so you can't use it as your confirm, but it has decent reach and speed, and it launches, allowing for full juggles. I think this is quite a good punish starter for Liu when you want to maximize your damage. His final strings are from Towards 4. Towards 4-3 is a fantastic range, great speed, good damage triple mid sequence that gives plenty of time for confirming. Unfortunately, both towards 4 by itself and towards 4-3 are -7, which means the opponent has a lot of momentum on block. Even if they can't punish you outright, they can use a quick mid to beat you if you try and down 1, and they can potentially push a low overhead mix-up or a hit throw mix-up on you, since you're kind of forced to block. You can end the string with up 3, which is actually plus on block. But it's so slow the opponent can hit you out of the up 3, and again, you're so minus on the previous string that you can't easily stop them from hitting reversal buttons. Additionally, they can flawless block the last hit on reaction. This leaves them ready to punish a potential cancel into parry, which would beat their reversal normals, but still allows them to punish the full string. But if they're looking for the flawless block, they lose the ability to get counter pressure on the towards 4-3 by itself. If your towards 4 is a counter or punish, then the up 3 will be a launching crushing blow. Mid-screen you can get a juggle to dragon kick, but in the corner you can get a full conversion. 1-2 is 48, 2-1-2 is 85. Almost all of Lu's other strings do damage in about the mid-90s. Your best starter in terms of damage is almost certainly your towards 3 string, just because of the launching hit, and when juggling you mostly want to pick your strings because of the hitboxes rather than their damage. I feel like it's worth mentioning that 1-2-3, back 3-4, and 3-4-3 all launch the opponent, which potentially gives them the option to break out of the combo. Lu's got a couple nice fully grounded combo options to deny breakaways, and though they're not as strong as his juggles, they can be incredibly useful at endgame. Back forward 1 is Kang's Fireball. The startup is pretty quick, but the recovery is kind of long, so it's really unsafe if done from close. It does standard damage and travels pretty quickly, I guess. Enhancing it is very powerful. It's 3 hits rather than 2, and it's safe on block. Because it's 3 fireballs, it's much harder to jump over, which is nice. Unfortunately, all 3 fireballs are highs, so the opponent only needs to duck to avoid all chip. The fireballs are slow enough that the opponent can neutral duck even in block strings. And it's even possible to neutral duck the last fireball in any context. Lu can also throw his fireball mid-air. You can use this to float over stuff, but the angle he throws it could be more useful. You can cancel air normals into it, but all that gives you some corner stuff that's not even optimal. You can throw them pretty low to the ground, but no matter how quick you do it, you won't seem to hit a standing opponent. So I don't imagine they're that useful for controlling the opponent's movement. Nice to have anyway. Back towards 3 is Kang's Dragon Kick. It's very unsafe, but it starts pretty quickly and travels very fast, which gives Lu some great full screen presence, enabling to punish buffs or Seismo-style fireballs very easily. In fact, if you get a full screen punish or counter hit with it, you get a crushing blow for higher damage. You also get this crushing blow if you juggle the flying kick from an air fireball, but only if you're far away. The enhanced flying kick is a bit stronger, but still unsafe. It does more damage than any of his other enhanced special moves, so if you've got 1 bar to spend and need to maximize your damage, this is the way to do it. His final universal special is his bicycle kick, back towards 4. As usual, it's really unsafe on block, but it does nice damage on hit and regrounds the opponent. The corner carry is pretty good, and it's plus frame on hit. In this game it has very small range and faster recovery on whiff. This is good because it makes Lu much less unsafe if the opponent breaks out of a juggle before it can hit. Enhancing it increases the damage a little bit, but not really enough to justify the meter spent. However, enhancing it 3 times in a single match means your next non-enhanced bicycle kick will get a crushing blow for big damage, so you should be landing enhanced bicycle kicks whenever you can, even though enhanced dragon kick is a bit stronger. Curiously, you can spend a second meter to doubly enhance the bicycle kick. This doesn't count as another enhanced bicycle kick towards your crushing blow, and again it doesn't add much damage, so it's usually not worth going for unless it's going to kill. A no-launch string into an enhanced or double enhanced bicycle kick is fully grounded, and does pretty great damage considering the opponent can't break out of it. Not to mention, this is generally Liu Kang's highest damage 2-bar route, though he'd much rather spend his meter in 1s I think, since this barely outdamages an enhanced dragon kick. Liu Kang's first tournament variation is Lo Hong Quan. First, you get a low fireball on down back 1. This is generally much better than his high fireball because it forces the opponent to block, hop, or jump over it. It's also only barely slower to start up than the high fireball, it seems to recover at the same speed, and it does the same damage. If you enhance it, it's -7, which is generally safe, but unfortunately, regardless of the context, the opponent can neutral duck the second hit. This means they can down 2 you to punish it, regardless of whether you enhance or not. Down back 3 gives you Dragon Parry. This parry will work against mids, highs, and throws, but won't parry lows or jumping attacks. Liu Kang doesn't have many unsafe attacks, and what he does have that's unsafe, the opponent usually has to punish with an instant button press. This parry can catch people going for attempted punishes. In order to punish both no cancel and a parry, most characters have to punish with a down 3 or down 4, which is naturally very unrewarding. If you enhance the parry, you get the ability to combo out of it. This is pretty much always worth the meter in my opinion. If you manage to parry a block attack or get up attack, Dragon Parry will play out a crushing blow for huge damage. And if you get the crushing blow on the parry, you can still enhance it. His final special in this variation is Shaolin Stance, down down 1. From this stance you can do 3 things. Hitting 2 gives you a 3-hit string, where the second hit is an overhead. Unfortunately, cancelling into this stance then hitting 2 seems to be too distant to combo in any context, so it's not really useful for confirming. If the initial hit whiffs, it gets to the overhead a little bit faster, which makes it harder to react to. But it's reactable every time if you're familiar with it, and it's unsafe on block. Shaolin Stance then hitting 3 gives you a sweep. It's only slightly unsafe at -8 and comes out insanely quickly. Additionally, it hits low and is fast enough to combo from cancels. However, because it's so much faster than the Shaolin Stance overhead, the opponent can block low, then react with high block if they see punches. So even though there's a theoretical low overhead mix-up, it's not very scary. Finally, Liu Kang can hit 1 to cancel the stance entirely for 1 defensive bar. You can't use it to extend combos. In fact, you can't even use it to make your string safe. But if the opponent tries to hit buttons on a Shaolin Stance, they might eat the lower the overhead. So if they're anticipating either of those, they'll probably let you cancel. Even still, the price you pay on the cancel is good for them. Liu Kang's other tournament variation is Wuxi Legend. The main special he gets in this variation is Dragon's Fire, down back 4. Right off the bat, activating this special gives Liu an across-the-board damage buff, which is objectively quite useful. However, it also gives Liu a few new special moves, only while it's on. Doing down back 4 again gives you a cross-up mid, while holding back will make it not cross up. There's no actual mix-up here, since they can just hold block either way, but it's fast enough to combo from some of Liu Kang's cancels, and it lets you choose which side you want to land on. It's actually quite strong too, but it's slightly unsafe at -8. Holding down will give you a low follow-up, while holding up will give you an overhead follow-up. Both are reactable, and they're both very unsafe on block, but you can probably surprise someone who doesn't know the matchup. The buff itself seems to only last for about 8 seconds. It's fast to put up, but you're constantly going to be reusing it because the duration really isn't that long. The only other thing Liu Kang gets in this variation is energy parry, down back 2. It nullifies fireballs, but has a bit too much startup and recovery when you can just neutral duck most fireballs anyway. Liu doesn't appear to be rewarded in any way from actually destroying a fireball. It's hard for me to tell how good the stance is in Lo Hong Quan, since the cancel will have different frame advantage depending on the string you're using, and I don't know how well the staggers will work. Wuxi Legend kind of reminds me of Inferno Scorpion from MKX, but it's dramatically more unsafe since it's Liu doing the attacking rather than some demon. It seems like both of Liu Kang's variations have some special move to give him a kind of built-in mix-up, but both are somewhat unrewarding and gimmicky. I'd probably just pick his first tournament variation for the better parry and low fireball, which both seem quite useful. Liu seems to be more about his quick attacks, good confirms, and safe pressure, so I think he's pretty strong even just using the basic mix-ups of the game without needing an overhead presence. Anyway, here are my sample BNBs. You can find notes in the description of this video.